Hello everyone, hello ninth formers all around the country. So today we are going to deal with review session number 3, and it is presented by me, Mrs. Ines bin Rebah Mabrouk, and it is done under the supervision of our ELT inspector, Mrs. Ilham bin Slema Mansour. Before I start dealing with the module, I want you to turn up your TVs and listen to me carefully. I will tell you a story and you have to follow with me. Please listen. So I'm going to give you a lesson about, or a story about a girl called Sharon, and this story is inspired from the Health National Institute. So Sharon is a 5-year-old girl. She is dreaming at night. Then she woke up and she said, I must find out the environment. Our teacher told us to find out the environment, save it and keep it clean. Now she looked around her, she looked here, she looked there, she looked everywhere, but she couldn't find the environment. She looked under the bed, in the fridge, in the living room. Then suddenly she smelled the smell of smoke. Maybe it was the factory in the neighborhood. She went and opened the window. She found out that her father was smoking a cigarette in the garden. And she said to him, Dad, would you please help me finding out the environment? He said, of course, dear daughter. Please, it is everything around you. She looked around her and examined the place. She found out trash under the garden trees. She found out fumes going into the sky and hiding the beautiful sun. She found out everything dirty in that garden. And she said, Dad, is this our environment? Is it like that? I don't want to clean it. I can't clean it. It's impossible for me. It's much hard work. And he said to her, with all the embarrassment he can have in the world, yes, you are right, my daughter, please. We can do it. You cannot do it yourself, but we can do it together. I can help you. Everyone can do that if we just join hands and cooperate in order to keep our environment clean and healthy. Now, the moral of this story is that there is something happening to our world, there is something happening to our environment, which is damaging our health. So this is the topic of module number 3. It's about health and environment. This is our module, and in this module, as I promised in session number 1, we'll be dealing with 2 main parts. Before the parts, we'll be dealing with 2 basic themes: the environmental problems, something like pollution, threats to our Mother Earth. Then we'll deal with health problems, so we can talk about smoking, respiratory problems, contamination, and all those health issues. Now, we'll concentrate in this revision on 2 main parts. 1, language. 2, writing. So today we'll have writing as an extra activity, which is really important to deal with. Now, let's start with the language as usual. Here we have health and environment. If I say health, I will concentrate on the word health, which is a noun. You can see here that letter E and letter A are pronounced like a, health. Then you have the adjective from it, so I added the Y to give up the adjective, and I have healthy. Then I added another start. At the beginning you have U and N. N, it's a prefix that is given to give the opposite. So healthy is an adjective, opposite to the adjective unhealthy. This is the first topic we are going to deal with. Then the second one, it's about environment. So here you have the noun environment. Then the adjective is environmental. It's like classical, like something logical. Then you will have the adverb out of it, which is environmentally. So I add the AL, then the LY of the adverb. So let's have exercise number 1. We have to complete the following table with the missing forms. Now we have the noun damage, from which we can extract the verb to damage, the adjective damaged or damaging, So something is damaged, is destroyed, but something is damaging to the world, to the environment. So it is doing an action, it's active. Then you have the adverb damagingly. Second noun is pollution. The verb from pollution is to pollute something. The adjective can be of two kinds, ed and ing. So an area, we say a polluted area, something is polluted. However, a factor is polluting the environment. For example, cars are polluting our environment, or they are polluting to our environment. The adverb out of it is pollutingly. Then if you have the adjective harmful, that means the noun must be simply harm, the verb to harm, and the adverb harmfully. Now, let's move to the verb to contaminate. That means to make something contaminated. You will do contamination. That's the noun. Adjective, contaminated or contaminating. It's like the two first adjectives. And the adverb is no need to, if you want, you can say contaminatingly, but it's really rare to use. Now, let's move to recycling. That's the noun. The verb is to recycle. The adjective is recycled. Something is recycled, or something is recyclable. That means it is able to be recycled again. The adverb is really not important to mention here. You have the adjective safe. It's coming from the noun safety. And from the verb to save, we save our environment, we keep it safe, we live safely. So here the adverb is safely. So the noun is regret, from the verb to regret. The adjective is regretful, and the adverb is regretfully. Let's move to the next word, which is ban. We say it's a ban. The verb is to ban something. That means to forbid it, to say no to something. The adjective is banned. For example, smoking is banned in public places. That means it is forbidden. So no need to mention the adverb. Then you have the noun from the adverb protectively. It is protection. The verb is to protect, and the adjective is protective. So these are the different forms we have covered up in this third module. The next, also, we need to concentrate on synonyms. So the synonym of poisonous, that's an adjective. It is simply toxic. Synonym of let out, it is to release, with an S pronounced, not a Z, it's a S sound. To breathe in or to inhale, that's A, inhale, that means breathe in, that means you do this. Then smokes or fumes, so these are two synonyms, the dark things that are coming out into the sky. Impact or effect, let's have a focus on the E, it's E. Sweet or sugary, if you want, it's not salty, it's not savory. And then you have to menace or to threaten, to put something at risk. Now, those same words in the last exercise, we are going to insert them in the appropriate place. So here, language is not simply without context. We can study the language like it is and then put them, use those words in their own context. So let's have sentence number 1. Scientists insist that if we don't find serious solutions, we may all end up dead because of respiratory illnesses. Unfortunately, the air is, or the air we, after we need a verb. So the air we breathe or breathe in, the air we inhale is polluted. With what? Like Sharon said, it is polluted with fumes and toxic substances, poisonous substances that are really nasty to our health. The second part is children are crazy about sugary food, sweets, candies, chocolate, all those things. Smoking has a negative, so you need a noun. A plus adjective, you need a noun. A negative effect, that means a negative result on people's health. Then the fourth answer, some factories release their waste into seas and rivers, means let out. They will just put them if you want. So here the associations, as I told you, we are going to make up words that go together. So we say lung, cancer, God forbid. Give up smoking, stop smoking. Flower pot, that is a compound noun. Collect waste, collect the trash if you want. plant a tree in the garden, in the school garden, breathing problems, skin rash, eruptions, make noise, that's pollution, and acid rain. This is a very toxic type of rains. These are the associations you have to remember, and they are found out in this very module. Okay, let's move to exercise number 5, where we need to complete the following dashes with the missing letters. Now, we dealt with this exercise in module number 1, and we have mentioned that the number of dashes are exactly the same like the number of letters missing. So, pollution is DANE for our environment. It may cause a great damage to all CR on Earth. It may turn our GR, spaces, and NA, places, into a desert. Now, all that is missing few words, few keywords, especially if we talk about pollution and the environment. So I would say pollution is dangerous for our environment. It may cause a great damage to all, and here I mean creatures, all the beings on Earth. Then it may turn our green spaces and natural places into a desert. So this is what can pollution do. It's simply harmful. Now the second part is pollution has different types. Space pollution, then space pollution, and space pollution. Those who live in big cities may also, an S, then a space, from another type of pollution, which is N, space pollution. It is mainly caused by sounds we hear from FAC, and then there is space and means of transport. Now, at the beginning we introduced pollution. In here we have gone into further details, and we are going to provide you with the types of pollutions you've studied in this module. Number 1, it is air pollution, that means that is happening in the air. Water pollution is happening in seas, in oceans, in rivers, in everything. And of course, land pollution, that is happening in forests, on land, it means on the terrestrial areas. Now, those who live in big cities may also suffer from, you have from, so suffer from another type of pollution, which is noise pollution. So we have another type of pollution, it's called noise. It's mainly caused by sounds we hear from factories and means of transport. This is exercise number 5. You can use the ideas in here in the writing if you want. Now, let's concentrate on those things in context. All the things we discussed in the beginning or at the beginning of this module, we're going to try to find them out in this language module. Remember, that's a circle in the right alternative exercise, where you need to circle the right answer after reading the whole paragraph. So years ago, there wasn't a problem with rubbish because things like plastic bottles hadn't been invented. Nowadays, so after we are supposed to have a verb. Unfortunately for you, here you have 3 verbs, but you have 3 different tenses. Remember, in this module, we discussed actually tenses too. So we will suffer, suffered, or are suffering. Nowadays, if it's nowadays, so it must be we are suffering. It is the present progressive. It is right now. We are suffering the consequences of far too much waste. It looks great that we can recycle previous wastes. Full stop. Now the 3 of them are linkers. The 3 of them are capitalized. But which one will go with this sentence? And it is strictly connected to the other sentence. Not everything can be recycled. So in the previous session, in the sentence in here, we said that it looks great that we can recycle things. It's good to recycle things. Unfortunately, not everything can be recycled. So the linker I have to use is yet, which is expressing contrast. It's an opposition linker. It is also great to use papers. They are easier to use and they don't need to be washed. But remember, paper is made from trees. Now, trees, who, which, why. Remember, something, that means which. Here you have trees, it is of course something, so which are important to the environment. Papers are also dropped everywhere. Dropping litter is not just a lazy thing to do, it makes work for other people. It is here. Now we need an adjective, safe, harmless, or harmful for the environment. If you throw those papers in all around the area you are staying in. That means this is something harmful. It is not harmless. It is bad for your environment, and it makes your environment look ugly. So what you should do, what you have to do, so you should think. You cannot use don't because you have the subject there. You don't say you don't think before you drop litter. You have to give advice here. You have to say you should think before dropping that litter. Either bin it or keep it and then bin it. So this is a language exercise that is also can be used as a writing exercise. We'll move on. Fill in the blanks with words from the box. There are 2 extra words. Again, we read the whole paragraph, then we go back to the list we have above. Teenagers go through big physical changes, which means they need to eat healthy food. But what is healthy food for older children and teenagers? Healthy food includes a wide variety of. Now, after of, you are expected to have a noun. However, after this space, you have fruits and vegetables. It is already the noun. So what can come before a noun? It must be an adjective, and this adjective here is fresh. So, a variety of fresh fruits and vegetables. This gives your child the energy he needs to grow up. How? In which way? So, in this situation, you will need an adverb to grow up properly. You cannot grow up chemically. It's not possible. You simply grow up in a proper way, in a right way. It also gives your child vitamins, antioxidants, fibers and water. They help protect your child against something, against plus noun. So here we need against something bad, against diseases, illnesses, including cancer. You, and then after you are supposed to have a verb. However, you have the verb after this space. So what comes before the verb should be normally an or a modal, which is expressing advice. So you ought to encourage your child to choose fruits and vegetables at every meal and for snacks. This includes fruit and veggies of different colors and tastes, both raw and cooked. It is essential to wash the fruit to remove dirt or chemicals and leave the, so you have the, so you need a noun. Leave the skin on it or on because it holds all the vitamins. Now, please pay attention to this one. You have a full stop. If you have a full stop, that means you need to look there and find out a word that is capitalized, starting with a big capital letter, not a lowercase. So here you simply have one word, which is don't. Now, grammatically speaking, also you need to find something that fits in this space. Here you have miss, which is a verb. So don't miss. So don't miss encouraging your child to make healthy choices by including lots of fruits and veggies in your family's meal. This is another way of giving advice, and that is the imperative way. You just address your people and say do or don't. Here it's prohibition. If I say you do something, that is the obligation to do something. Exercise 9, it is the put the words in parentheses in the right tense and form. So again, we'll concentrate on what we have between parentheses. Number 1, each year more than 480 people in the United States die from illnesses related to tobacco use. This means each year smoking causes about 1 out of 5 something. So 1 out of 5 something. So I need a noun. It means deaths. So 1 out of 5 deaths in the US. Smoking cigarettes kills more Americans than alcohol, car accidents, guns, and drugs. So here you have smoke. So in this situation, you need to be doing 2 things. First of all, you have to think about a noun because you have the verb die, and then you have a full stop in here. So you have to think about writing it in a capital letter. So smokers die younger than. So we are comparing in here. Those who smoke will die, of course, younger than those who are not smoking, so they are called non-smokers. So smoking shortens men's lives by about 12 years and women's lives by about 11 years. Smoking not only causes cancer, it also, so you have here not only causes, you have that verb in the simple present, so it also damages. It plus simple present, you need to put the S. Nearly early organ in the body, including the lungs, heart, mouth, skin, eyes, and bones. Researchers have found that one of the, and then you have the adjective. If you have this structure, one of the, you need necessarily to use the superlative. And in this case, the superlative of hard, it is hardest, one of the hardest, one of the best, we say, one of the most dangerous factors. So it is this case. So one of the hardest cancers to treat is lung cancer. Therefore, if your life is your last wish, then stop smoking immediately. So if the activity of doing that, to express activities in English, we have to use simply the ing form. So if ruining your life is your last wish, then stop smoking that or smoking immediately. So this is how we should be dealing with such an exercise. Now, the next one here, it's an exercise that you will have. This is the first time we encounter such an exercise. Here you can have a number of sentences. Sometimes you have a whole paragraph, and then you have underlined sentences. There you need to give back what are those sentences expressing exactly. Now, number one, you ought to sleep early to have a healthy body. So this goes with C because you have ought to, so that is giving advice. Ought to, should, many other expressions. Then here you see you have ought to. Then second sentence, she waters her flower every day, so it is growing fast. This would go with A. It is expressing result for the simple reason that it is having so. So is an anchor that expresses result. Number three, Jane must help in cleaning her schoolyard. This goes with E. It is expressing obligation because you simply have the word must. Number four, giving up smoking may be difficult, but it is not impossible. This goes with D, and it is expressing probability. And here you have the modal may, which is expressing probability, possibility, all those things. The fifth sentence, you are always using those earphones. That's why you're going to have, or you are having an ear ache. It goes with B, and that is expressing cause because you have that's why. That's why expresses cause. So you can use those words in order to write down your paragraphs, in order to do your writing exercises as well. So let's start up the writing. Now, in the writing, we'll be dealing with a number of parts: spelling, punctuation. I would say you can have like vocabulary items, grammatical structures, the topic. Everything should be connected in the writing. Now we'll concentrate on spelling in this exercise, and here you are supposed to reorder those letters in order to get a meaningful word. So number one, it is simply, okay, S-K-I-N, it's a skin. Second, H-U-N-T-E-R, hunter. Third, S-M-O-K-I-N-G, smoking. Now, these are very nasty things, especially among men around Tunisia. So we have cigarette, then the last word, species, and we have a number of species who are, which are, disappearing these days because of different environmental changes. Now, let's find out which words fits in the context, because I'm just reminding you that in your writing, sometimes you use a word that should not be used in a particular context. So let's try to find out which goes here and doesn't go in another context. Number one, my father smokes, what do we say? Heavily or seriously? The two of them seem to be meaning something that is serious. However, in this context, I have to say smokes heavily. That is the expression which goes with smokes. Second, go and wash your hands. Don't you see they are polluted or dirty? Now, the two of them convey the idea of pollution, of dirt, but if I talk about hands, I have to say they are dirty and not polluted. Something is normally polluted, and it's extremely polluted if you want. Then we say, she is addicted to cigarettes. She can't give up. Now, she can't be interested into cigarettes because she can't give up here. And interested in is something positive. However, here you have something, she's chained to cigarettes, so she's addicted to that. The next one, Kevin smokes a lot. Now he has the consequences, the nasty consequences of, I would say, the smoking factors. Here you have falling hair, and then you will have yellow teeth. Okay? Then the last sentence, Christy is in a serious, what do you say, healthy condition or health condition? Now, normally we should say health condition. She was poisoned yesterday after eating a sandwich in the school canteen. So we say health conditions and not healthy conditions. Okay, so let's concentrate on exercise number 3. So in this exercise, I have to insert those linkers. Those linkers have been, or let's say, were covered in this module. So you have bad, because, so, as a result, and that's why. So let's start with sentence number 1. We should plant trees. They give us oxygen. So what do we need? What is this connection? I have to plant trees simply because they give us oxygen. Now, in the next one, we have trees are a source of oxygen. Then I have a full stop. Now remember, when I have a full stop, I have to use the capital letter. However, here I have 2 words, 2 linkers that start with a capital letter here. So I need to find out the connection that is found between the 2 sentence parts or the 2 sentences. Trees are a source of oxygen. Then we should take care of them. The connection is simply, that's why we should take care of them. So there is a condition at the beginning. So that's why I have to do this one. I have to follow that in order to take, let's say, because they are a source of oxygen, that's why I have to take care of them. Number 3, trees are important. People are still cutting them. Trees are important. And then if you can notice, there is an opposite idea in the next part. So here we have this type of connection. It's a contrast connection, but people are still cutting them. Last year, big fires ran all over Australian forests. Many species have disappeared. So if you remember the Australian fire that happened at the end, I say, of the last summer. So it killed too many species. So here that's what happened. So last year, big fires ran all over Australia, all over the Australian forests. As a result, there is a consequence out of that. Many species have disappeared. Now, let's move to sentences. The next difficulty you will face whenever you are doing a writing exercise is how I should be, or how you should be organizing your sentences. So subject, verb, object. Sometimes it's a question, so how should I start with a question word? I need to end up with the question mark. So in this way, I need to concentrate on the words and try to have a logical order out of them. Number 1, saving saves their lives, and then environment. Logically speaking, I have to start with the one capitalized. So saving the environment saves our lives. So it goes hand in hand. The next one, should, endangered. We protect species. Capital letter over there. So I have to start with it. We should protect endangered species. We should protect. It's also connected. Then, thrown start one May cigarette fire. So you have to start with the capital letter as usual. One thrown cigarette may start a fire. Number 4, contaminated in, swim, don't, rivers or seas. So you have don't capitalized, don't plus verb. So don't swim in contaminated rivers or seas. Number 5, pollution, full stop, disaster is the greatest end world. So you should start with the capital letter and finish with full stops, like it is the case in all those sentences, because they are affirmative sentences, they are not questions. So here you have pollution as the first word. Pollution is the greatest word, disaster. So in this case, you have organized all those words to get meaningful sentences that can be used in order to enrich your writing assignments about environment, of course. Now, once you have covered up all those writing exercises, you will end up writing about a topic, a given topic. Here, we suggested this topic for you. Write an article in your school magazine to advise your schoolmates to protect their school environment. Now, in this paragraph, or in this, I would say, article, you need to think about ideas and then language and organization of that ideas and language. So how do I do this one? Because I have an article, so I have to concentrate on giving or providing a title or a heading. So at the beginning I should say, for example, save the environment, help our environment, let's help our environment. So these are suggestions. Then you have to introduce the topic about the environment. This should be done in the introduction in 1 or 2 sentences maximum. It must be short and precise. For example, I would say the environment is all the things that are surrounding us, but it is not dealt with, or it is not treated in the best ways. That is one example. Now, straight away we move to the body, which is the largest part of your writing part. Now, in the body, you need to concentrate on listing ways to protect your school environment. How are you gonna list those things? So first, you will give ideas. For example, I'm gonna say, I will start organizing events about let's say raising people's awareness about school, about the environment. I will be organizing some events to clean our school garden, for example. I will ask my friends to help me plant some new trees if you want. So all of them are possible things you can do, or these are things that you can write about in this part. Now, how should you say that? How are you going to express that? Linguistically speaking, the language. So here, in order to give advice, because it's mentioned in the topic, you can use you should, you ought to, plus verb, of course, in the bare infinitive. Or I advise you to do something, I recommend that you do something. So these are different words or expressions that you can use. Now, please remember, advise is the verb with S. So I say to advise somebody. However, the noun is advice with C. Also, we never say advices. Pay attention, we never say advices. We always say pieces of advice, or we can say tips. The word advice never takes an S. So please never write down in your writing assignments advices. It's not really good as a noun. We don't say advices. Then you end up with the conclusion. Now, in the conclusion, you can write, for example, an open invitation. You invite your friends to come and help because you are organizing a school event that week or next month, and you ask for their help and encouragement. So in this way, we should have covered all the parts needed in this module number 3 about health and environment. Thank you so much for watching, and let's meet you in another review session. Goodbye.